Not gonna lie, horror movie fans have been eating pretty damn good for the past years, leaving them with a big old creepy smile on their face. Somehow though, everyone has been sleeping on this one specific film, even though it is one of the most disturbing, primitive, and damn right gruesome horror films in the past 10 years. So why is that? Why is Bone Tomahawk one of the creepiest films that you've never seen? And why is it slept on? NANI? Well, I don't know why it's slept on, but I can surely tell you why it's so damn creepy. So, let's get into it. Before we get started, I do want to note that I did mispronounce two of the characters' names throughout the entire film, because I haven't seen this film in quite a while, so please forgive me for that. For reals, let's get into it now. The film starts off with these, I don't want to get demonetized early, so I'm just gonna say it sounds like muttering, but it starts off with these muttering thieves doing some muttering and some stealing. Until this loud ass gunshot alerts something nearby, and the two thieves take off and try to hide, but then they hear it. And what is it? Well, it's some creepy ass, disturbing ass howl of sorts.
You hear that?
It's ominous.
They keep trying to get away, but they just keep going deeper and deeper as things get more creepy and creepy, step by step, until they get to the burial ground of these things. They feel emboldened though, because they got some revolvers.
Listen clear, we are coming through here, like it or not. Buddy!
These creepy ass things come out of nowhere and completely annihilate them. Or do they? 11 days later, and we are at a small town with some of the main characters, Arthur and Samantha. And they're a couple, but he's got a broken leg that's healing because he was being a big old goof.
I advised you not to work on the roof during a storm, but you went up regardless.
Now we're in a bar with one of the other main characters, Broder, who's like this cool, slick ex-Marine. He's pompous though, not gonna lie.
I'm the most intelligent man here, and I intend to keep us alive.
And despite his skin color, he kind of feels like the light-skinned character in this film.
Good evening, Mrs. O'Dwyer.
He also really hates Indians, spitting out that Western Riz.
I've killed more Indians than everyone here put together.
Well, it's an ugly boast.
It isn't a boast, but a fact.
Moving on, you also got Sheriff Franklin, who's Kurt Russell, and he's like this more rugged and harsh but noble type of sheriff. To which you also have his backup deputy, Chicory, who's a widower, and he's kind of dumb, but like in a childish, naive kind of way.
Ooh, that tea smells gruesome. It's soup. Oh, you think I could have some?
Anyways, it turns out that muttering thief from the beginning was able to escape, and the assistant deputy caught him trying to bury some stolen bloody possessions. So now they gotta go into the bar and question him LA Noire style.
I didn't do nothing wrong. What's your name? I'm gonna meet someone. Who'd you steal those clothes from? Like I just told you, I ain't got no weapon.
You young boys, Valdez.
Are you a madman?
Now Broder has to go get Samantha while she's in the middle of a booty sesh with her husband because she's like a nurse/surgeon. She's got to extract the bullet from the criminal's leg. So Broder escorts her. Once she's there, she's got to stay the night to care and monitor the prisoner. But in the middle of the night, these creepy ass things inevitably stalked the muttering thief from the beginning, and they do some spooky stuff to enact their revenge. They kidnap the three that were in the jail, and they also butcher this black stable boy.
Mr. Wallington?
The following morning, the town is on high alert because the three from the jail were taken, and there's a deceased black stable boy, while also we have some horses missing.
Those are my finest.
Quiet! Ask about horses again, I'll slap you red.
They find an arrow at the crime scene, and they get this specialist to explain what type of arrow and what type of people use these. He basically describes how horrific and savage these creatures are.
They're not my kind. They're a spoiled bloodline of inbred animals who eat their own mothers.
Well, what are they?
Troglodytes.
Along with pointing out their territory and answering any other questions that the sheriff has for him.
Why would they tear that stable boy up, leave him, but take the others away?
They don't eat Negroes.
Do they think they're poisonous?
Chicory.
They're literally inbred muttering, cannibalistic, prehistoric savages, which if you ask me is the closest you can get to an actual kukui or monster. Now Sheriff Franklin, Deputy Chicory, and Broder gear up to go find the troglodytes and save the 3 people taken. Arthur also wants to go, but he's crippled and he's basically just gonna slow them down, although it is his wife and he's stubborn, so he's going on this long ass 5-day trip. Now it's Red Dead Cowboy time, and man, the cinematography and shots in these films makes me want to just pack up all my stuff, put it over my bag, and go be a ranchero/cowboy, but I can't because I don't trust horses and I'm honestly scared of them. And besides the Red Dead Cowboy type of feel in this film, the other thing that you'll notice is how sandy, stale, and crunchy the sound and the audio for the system is. Like, damn, it's good. It really just helps you immerse in the isolation of the mountains along with all the creepy shit. Now they set up camp and secure the perimeter smartly with these bells on top of the tripwire, along with guns. Now let me sidetrack a bit just to explain why I love this film and why the creatures are so damn creepy. How many times in a movie do you see like the main protagonist doing something dumb or like running away super slowly from the killer or the monster, and it just annoys the shit out of you? Where you're thinking to yourself, man, it is so easy to survive this, just do this. But in here, hell no, that's not the case. Later on, once we get to like the actual savageness and fear and speed of these monsters, it's really creepy because it's like, oh, well, I would just take a gun. And it's like, well, they got multiple guns and bing, bang, boom. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but it's like, honestly, put yourself in their position and think to yourself, would you really survive? That's all I'm going to say for now. Because these characters are smart. I mean, they do give good advice like this.
Sleep with your guns nearby, and you shoot anything that rings a bell.
But now back to the story. Broder keeps being like a pompous a-hole.
I'm the most intelligent man here, and I intend to keep us alive.
What does that got to do with anything?
Smart men don't get married.
But Deputy Chicory's also got some good comebacks.
That's because no woman wants you.
Anyways, now it's nighttime and turns out it was just a dog. They ride some more, argue some more, and now it's nighttime again. Until some strange, mysterious figure sets the jingle alarm off. But it turns out to just be a Mexican.
Strike a match so we can see you clear. We'll light things up with our guns.
My name is Ramiro.
He's brown! It wasn't just a Mexican though. It turns out that there was 2 sneaking up on the men and they were scouts for an ambush and raiding party. But yeah, I mean, these 2 were Mexicans and thieves, but honestly, what's the difference?
Ah, come on, fool.
Now they gotta go to a more secure camp and move to a different position. Well, now it's some moral dilemma questions.
You shouldn't have shot those Mexicans when I was wearing a crucifix. Then Jesus should have helped them.
And now it's sleepy time. Until they get ambushed by the rest of the Mexican raiding party, resulting in their horses getting stolen. Broder questions why his horse is a race traitor and didn't alarm them.
I don't understand how they got them all. Saucy had never allowed some greaser on her back.
Turns out though that she wasn't a race traitor, and she tried to warn them about the Mexicans, so the Mexicans incapacitated her, and now Broder's gotta put her down.
Thank you for your service.
After this incident, they decide that they're just gonna walk the rest of the 2-day trip, and Arthur is gonna have to keep up and just manage while they kind of leave him behind. So basically, Arthur's got to crip walk the whole way there. Arthur meets up with the crew again, and it's sleepy time, but when they wake up to go, Broder teases Arthur about flirting with Arthur's wife. He's a simp and basically breaks his leg again.
Get there before you catch up. Try to refrain from flirting with Mrs. O'Dwyer.
So now they gotta reset it and kind of do a surgery on it, which leads him to stay behind while they go and save his wife, while cooking him. And leaving some trails. The rest of the men continue on and they start to hear the sound.
It's ominous.
But they keep walking through the night and we find out why Broder has such a dislike for the natives. And it's because they scammed his mother and sister.
Okay?
Nah, I'm just playing. The Indians basically ravaged them. In the morning, they start to find tracks and hints indicating that they're almost to the troglodytes, so they go in and they think that they might spot something. Damn! Just like that, they almost get got. Broder gets his hand chopped off, so now he wants to stay behind and lure the rest of the troglodytes out for his final badass last stand.
I shall kill as many as I can.
And the other men try to retreat but get nabbed by the troglodytes. The troglodytes drag the men back to a cave, spotting Bruder's unalive body on the way since he couldn't riz his way out of this one. But back on point, they place them inside these cells where they find out that these savages basically finished off and ate the murdering man from the beginning, while the other deputy and Abigail are also in a cell as food/prisoners for these disturbing ass things. Moments later, that younger deputy literally gets sliced into two, which I obviously can't show on YouTube, but check out my Patreon for the full uncensored video. They do this, and they also kind of, in the nicest way, give him a fresh cut, all while he's still breathing. And now we're with Arthur, and he wakes up and senses that something's wrong. So he follows the trails that the men left for him, getting closer to the savages. While we're back in the cave, and the two men have some medical opium, so they're trying to trick the troglodytes into drinking it and ODing, which it kind of works. Switching back to Arthur, he asks one of the savages for a specific request, to which the troglodyte agrees.
Do a flip!
And Arthur cuts out the harmonica looking thing that's placed in the savages, which they use to communicate. And this is another gruesome scene that I can't show. Check out my Patreon. He smartly uses this to ambush another troglodyte named Peter, and you'll find out why. Back in the cave, the troglodytes kind of catch on that the two men poisoned them. They basically beat Sheriff Franklin and cut him open and place this hot ass canteen in his body. I mean, if you're squeamish, this movie's definitely not for you, but if you want something more disturbing and different, then check it out at your own risk. Also, the troglodytes pick up Broder's lever action and they try and succeed to operate it. All the while, Arthur's trying to enter the cave, wasting one more savage, although the leader is able to figure out how to use the rifle and shoots Sheriff Franklin in the chest.
There's one in here with a...
But he's able to muster up the strength to grab the bone tomahawk and cut the savage's foot while Arthur is able to ambush it, and Sheriff Franklin beheads it. Arthur is able to free Abigail and the other deputy, while the Sheriff Franklin decides to stay and lure the rest of the savages out because he's pretty much dead man already. Also, Franklin has a wife back home that I kind of just glossed over, and Deputy O'Doric, or whatever his name was again, is a widower. So they have this nice ass exchange.
Say goodbye to my wife. I'll say hello to yours. Yes, sir.
The survivors are on their way out when they come across some of the women of the tribe, and some more disturbing stuff because they're literally like shanked in the eye and their limbs cut off, making them just breeding instruments for the male troglodytes. If you haven't noticed, this film's disturbing. They're finally at a distance from the cave when they hear the sheriff finish the rest of the troglodytes off, and the film ends at that. This film is really something different. It's good, dry, and bare bones. That might be a little simple to a certain extent, but it really just helps elevate the brutal nature of the troglodytes. These are real threats. They're not something down where you could just be like, oh, why can't you just leave here or take a gun? It's like, no, the troglodytes are some savage ass things, and if I were to see them in real life, I'd be scared to run the other way. Like the film shows, in an instant, they're almost all over. It's no dramatics with them trying to pick up a knife and swinging it all dramatically. It really makes them lethal and scary. Their creepiness is complemented by the main characters, since they're really logical and alert, yet once they're met with these pure savages, they almost all get got within a wink of an eye. Which begs the question, if you're already watching this channel, this is how good cowboys do with savages, so how good would cholos do with demons? Check out that video to find out. I don't know why this movie slept on. It's a great film, 9 out of 10 orellas. Thank you so much for watching the video, and thank you to all these special Patreons. Until next time, later.